Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Targeting Winners. We're getting closer to the kickoff, and we're continuing our conference preview. We're looking around. Darren, Peter, how you doing tonight?
Good, man. How are you?
Feeling great. Less than 3 months to college football kickoff, and we're getting a little exciting. Almost halfway done with our previews. I can't wait to start doing some actual betting weekly games. So nice time. Peter, what's up?
Not much. Good to see you guys. We're getting close, getting excited. We're heading out to the mountains today, and we'll move forward. We're getting closer and closer to those big conferences. It'll be a lot of fun to talk about those. So looking forward to moving in there.
It'll be interesting to see if the Mountain West is gonna maybe they're gonna go the way of the Pac-12. It looks like they're losing 5 teams this year. Boise State, Colorado State, Utah State, Fresno State, San Diego State. That was announced this week. I think they got to come up with like $15 million or so to pay the get me the hell out of here fee. Thoughts on that, Darren?
You take that right out of petty cash, man. That's not a problem. I mean, I'm only concerned like with Oregon State and Washington State. So next year, when there's only 7 teams, I believe, like, don't you have to have like a minimum of 8 to be recognized? So I don't know if there's plans for an 8th team in the future.
There is, if you remember last week.
I don't remember last hour. What are you talking about?
Well, we did our MAC preview. I believe Northern Illinois is heading out west.
No, they're going to the Mountain West. They're not going to the Pac-12. Northern Illinois and UTEP are coming to the Mountain West, but that's going to leave the Mountain West with 9 teams. They should be okay.
Yeah, they'll be okay. So the
Pac-12's only got the 7 as far as I know. Yeah, they'll get something.
Yeah. They'll find something.
I was thinking because with the 5 leaving, that leaves the Mountain West with 7 teams. That's what I thought you were talking about. I missed that.
Oh, no, they'll still be Mountain West we all know and love. But yeah, next year they'll be at 9. Like you said, 5 leaving, 2 coming in.
We'll know them, but will we love them without Boise State?
Sure. As long as we're allowed to bet on the games, we love anything.
I keep thinking of that meme with the guy lurking behind the tree, rubbing his hands and thinking that's UNLV. It's like, aha, when Boise State leaves, and they're like, let's go. The conference is ours to win now. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. Bringing Pac-12, getting the band back together. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. But
Pac-12 after dark, man. We need our 10:30 kickoffs.
Yeah,
we can't count on Hawaii at 11:59 every week. So we got to have something to bet on it.
Yeah, that's true. So, well, all right. No, that can't be right. I'm just looking at another article that says almost $25 million they got to pay to get out of the conference.
Wow, that's steep.
Time to email the boosters. Let's go.
Yeah, right. Maybe Ash and Genty can help them out with the money they're just getting from the Raiders. But it says, I think they're taking the average of ticket revenue or something from all the schools from last year. I don't know. It looks confusing. I'm looking at a chart, but all right, the hell with it. Let's just get on to the team previews. I don't have to come up with $20 million.
I need you falling over and passing out from trying to read a chart. I did math before we started recording, and my head is still hurting. So please don't read this chart. Otherwise, Pete's going to be doing this on his own.
Sam, it's ibuprofen in a few minutes. Yeah. Well, let's look at it. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up like we do with these conferences every week. A little brief look at some of these. As I do, like I put these in tiers, and I got like 4 or 5 tiers or teams in the first tier that really I have no interest in betting on anything, maybe the under in win totals. Darren, let's start with New Mexico. What are your thoughts on that?
Definitely a rebuild from the looks of it, but I do like Jason Eck, the head coaching hire that New Mexico did this offseason. He comes over from Idaho. Last 3 years, 26-13, a couple playoff appearances for the Vandals. Yeah, we talk about being we're all from upstate New York. We like to bet on horses and stuff. We always talk about horses stepping up in class. He's bringing with him a ton of FCS talent. The main concern I have is can these players compete at this new level? The Idaho quarterback, Jack Lane's coming over. They've only got one starter coming back on offense, and that's one of the offensive linemen. They do have a nice running back coming in from Montana State. Scott Dre Humphrey had almost 1,400 yards, 16 touchdowns. Everybody in the receiving group is brand new. So I'm curious to see what that offense looked like without our boy, Devin Dampier, who left there to go to Utah. Defensively, not much better. Only 3 starters back on that side of the ball. 2 of them are linebackers. 18 portal ads on the defensive side of the ball for the Lobos here, including 13 in the secondary alone. And this was a team that was just like terrible defensively, like in the Mountain West, dead last and everything. Pretty close to the bottom nationwide as well. Again, this defense only 11 sacks last year, only 3 interceptions. As a team, 112 penalties. There is just a ton to correct here. And again, with all the FCS people, I don't know if he's going to get it done here. This win total sitting at 3.5 at both DraftKings and FanDuel. Both of those places have it juiced to the under. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see. There's just so much. I mean, this is probably one of the most gutted programs that we've looked at since we started these previews. I don't see it. I don't have a bet on the under, but if this is a 4-win team, I will be very surprised.
Peter, I'm thinking.
No, it's hard for me to argue. I mean, I like the coach. I think they brought in the right guy that could build this program, but this is a massive rebuild, as you just said, right? This is a team that's been gutted. It's going to take some time. I don't think there's much that's positive that's going to happen in 2025. May pick up a win or two here or there, but I think this is a team that's really looking at the trajectory to 2026 and beyond. So I think, there's potential. As I said, I like the coach. I like some of the players he brought in. I mean, I like what's happening generally here, but there's a lot to do. They're pretty thin on both sides of the line. I think it's going to be a real challenging year for them. But, I mean, for them, getting a couple wins, improving through the year would be a win. And I think we might be able to see that happen. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Also, let me just add one more thing I forgot. 8 offensive line additions in the portal. 7 of those are from FCS schools. Yes. I don't even know how that O-line is going to be able to hold up and give this kid from Montana State any room to run. But,
no.
Yeah, like I said, like Pete said, love the coaching hire. This guy's got a proven track record of success, but yeah, this is straight rebuild, possibly for 2 or 3 years. But
yeah.
Well, if you're an alum of New Mexico and you're just want to go, I forgot to mention they are at plus 15,000. So if you want to go nuts, good luck.
Good luck. Good luck.
All right, moving on. Nevada, another perennial, at least in the past couple of years anyway, perennial bottom dweller. Peter, let's start with you this time. We're going to go over to Nevada. What do you think? And they are also at plus 15,000.
Yeah, it's a pretty similar story here, right? This is a rebuilding action going on here. It's going to take some time to get it there. Once again, I do like their coach, so I think there is some potential here in the future. But I mean, offense just doesn't, and I don't expect it to churn out a whole lot of points here. They have a tough schedule as well. They have the second hardest schedule in the Mountain West, which is not doing any favors to a team that's in a major rebuild here. The odds are against them with schedule, with player turnover, with this rebuild. Can the D line? I mean, the D line's not bad if they can, hang in there for a few games. Yeah, maybe they can steal a game or two, maybe a home game or two. This to me is a foundational year, not a winning year. Very similar to the story we just told. So we'll see where it goes after this, but I wouldn't expect much from them this year.
Peter, any additional thoughts? Or Darren?
I mean, Pete pretty much summarized 90% of what I had written down. It is like New Mexico 2.0 here. Only difference is this head coach is in his second year. So maybe there could be some kind of improvement if he had another year to get in some of his guys. Yeah, just even start with the quarterback position. Brandon Lewis, he transferred to Memphis. Chubba Purdy, who I think Florida State, Nebraska, hasn't managed to stay healthy at either of those two places. Probably in line to be the number one guy because what he brings from a running element. The quarterback actually was the leading rusher last year, so whatever offense Nevada had is pretty much gone at this point. Their leading rusher, their leading receiver, gone. Again, much like New Mexico defense, only one returning starter, only 14 sacks, 99 penalties as a team. That schedule that Pete had mentioned, yeah, the top 4 betting favorites are all on that schedule. They do get 3 of them at home, but I wouldn't expect them to win any of those. A couple non-conference paychecks. They go to Penn State. They go to Western Kentucky. DraftKings actually about 10 days before this was at 4.5 juice to the under. They moved down to 3.5 now. Same as FanDuel, juice to the over. But I don't know if this team's good enough for 4. I mean, if Purdy stays healthy, but he's already proven in multiple stops, that's not an option. So curious to see what they look like in year 2. Remember, this is a team that was like a 4-touchdown underdog to SMU to open last year. And of course, because I bet SMU because week 0, I literally suck like ass week 0, like Kim Kardashian size ass week 0. But yeah, I seen after a couple good games early on, they really kind of tailed off, and I'm afraid this might carry over here. It looks like, again, a lot of work to do, just like the Lobos.
Yeah. Well, let's continue our way through the bottom tier. Utah State. Do you feel like the Mountain West is like, oh, no, please don't go Utah State? But what are you guys thinking about this one, Darren?
I mean, at least they could score. At least their games were fun because they were great offensively and terrible defensively. They do get Bronco Mendenhall. Speaking of good coaches, the first 2 programs we talked about have good coaches. I love me some Bronco Mendenhall. I think he can do wonders with his team. But again, it's just about what we're losing here. Y'all remember the Utah pig farmer quarterback, Bryson Barnes? Well, he's now at Utah State, probably be the starter. I don't really know what else they've got. Their leading receiver, Jalen Royals, went to the NFL. They did add a half a dozen wide receivers in the portal. No starters from the offensive line are returning. Actually, only one returning starter total on that side of the ball. Defensively, again, lost a lot. Leading tackler, leading sacker, all gone. But one thing I was looking at Utah State, I wonder, like their win total sitting at 4.5 juice to the under at both FanDuel and DraftKings. I wonder if going into last season, as bad as it was, they had a couple unfortunate things in the offseason. They had the whole Blake Anderson head coaching debacle where he got fired and he was suing the school and all this. So that went on for months. And then they had the player who passed away in an unfortunate drowning mishap. Like I think it was like late July, early August. So this program was kind of just not really feeling, I don't think, right from the get-go. So I wonder if maybe without either of those things, pretty uneventful offseason, maybe they start a little bit better. But again, that 4.5 win total juice to the under does not give me a whole lot of confidence that they're going to hit 5. They go to UNLV, they go to Fresno, they host San Jose State, they host Boise. Again, all the 4 betting favorites, again, on a schedule of a team that doesn't look to be too successful here. I like Mendenhall, but I think with the other 2 programs we talked about, it's going to take some time for him to get what he wants to do. But they should still be a lot of fun offensively because, I mean, it's Bronco Mendenhall, man. I mean, he does. I mean, I'd be curious to see what they look like. I don't know who they play their first game, but I would be interested to watch because I think without these distractions that they had last year, they may be a team to watch. But we'll see.
I forgot to mention the line is plus 10,000 if you want to bet on them. Let's just keep on moving here, Peter. Let's go to San Diego State University. They are at plus 4,000, so a big drop off. I guess the betting sites have the tiers that we have. So going from 10,000 to 4,000, what do you got on San Diego State?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're getting a little better in terms of potential here. Still not a team that I have a lot of faith in, but this is a team in transition. I think that they are seeing some changes clearly at the quarterback position and some other positions here. I think one of the issues they're going to have is that they lost multiple members of D-line through the portal. That's going to create some issues with leadership on that line. And if you think about the way they run an offense, which is a tempo-driven offense, right? They need the defense to play that part in it, right? In order to set up the offense to be what it is. That would be my concern here, right? Is losing leadership in that defense. If the defense can't play well and match in with the offense, it's going to be an issue on the offensive side as well. So this is one of those teams where I think you need balance and you need both sides of the ball doing their part. And I think we might see a bit of an issue here. I think as we go into the year, we might see some improvement here, but I don't have a lot of faith in this team doing a whole lot other than being competitive. If that defense can be competitive, I think this team could be interesting to watch, but we'll see how it plays out. So those are my thoughts on San Diego State.
Darren, anything to add?
Yeah, I would love to see how this team does this year. This is the second year of the Sean Lewis experiment. Remember, he's our favorite MAC coach of all time, leader of that crazy-ass offense that Kent State used to run a few years ago. He obviously didn't have the personnel to run that last year. This team was terrible offensively, and what hurt worse was they were such a good defensive club like 2021 through 2023. Their defense literally just fell off a cliff in 2024. So this team was a disaster on both sides of the ball. I'll be curious to see who wins this QB battle. You got a Central Michigan guy, Bert Emanuel Jr., and Pete, you may know something about Jaden Donegal, a little Michigan transfer.
Yes, sir.
But again, losing their leading rusher, 1,274 yards and 12 TDs. They only had 13 rushing TDs as a team, only 1,547 yards. So, what's that, 90% of your rushing offense gone. Did add a lot of receivers in the portal. I'm assuming Sean Lewis thinks he might be able to get a little more out of his offense this year. But like Pete said, defensively, you got to have the right guys, because if this offense starts clicking, you can't have the defense going back out there after like 5 or 6 plays, man. By the third quarter, they're just going to be toast. I mean, but they interest me. I would love to see what Sean Lewis can do with this team in year 2. But again, we talked about why these teams are so bad. I got 109 penalties as a team. They miss Air Force, UNLV, Utah State, 3 teams that they lost to last year. So that probably helps a little. But again, your top betting choices, except UNLV, all on the schedule, some at home. So we'll see what they do. But if this offense can get figured out, yeah, I mean, it'll be fun. 4.5 juice to the under. I would consider an overplay here. I think with some of these awful defensive teams, I think if San Diego State can clean up a little bit what they're trying to do offensively, that'll help their defense, which means that unit shall improve. I didn't bet on them, but I kind of like them. They're not my surprise team. They were kind of like my second choice, but we'll see. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do.
Lean towards the over there. Okay.
I would.
Now, I think this is where it starts to get interesting. We got down to the plus 3,000 for Wyoming for the Mountain West. This is, these are when the lines get there where I like to do a little hedge hunting, but I did not pull a trigger on this team. Peter, let's start with you on Wyoming at plus 3,000.
Yeah, I think this is a team that could have some upside. I kicked them around as a potential surprise team with what they could do here. I mean, I like the coach. I like the culture there. I mean, they play tough. They play relatively consistently, which is good. Obviously, the defense is going to be good. I fully expect the defense will play well, and they have a heck of a home. They have the second best home field advantage in this conference. We'll talk about the first one a little bit here, but tough place to play. However, they do have a rather difficult schedule this year, which I think is going to be the challenge, right? Because I do think this team is better than those odds would suggest. However, I think the schedule is a bit of a problem for them. So we'll see how it shakes out. So I'm not really sure, but the defense will keep them in games. And as we've talked about many, many times before for multiple years here, your defense can keep you in a game. You've got an opportunity, and certainly at home they have an opportunity. So I think they could be interesting to watch this year. I don't expect them to be, fantastic or anything of that nature, but I'm going to try to catch some of their more competitive games because I think they could be quite interesting to watch. So that's my 2 cents.
Aaron, what you got?
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think offensively they could be fun to watch. They were pretty bad as far as Mountain West standards go, 11th in both points scored and yards gained per game in the conference. They're kind of running 2 quarterbacks most of the year, but they seem to have more success when Caden Anderson was their guy. He comes back. Evan Swoboda is leaving, so I think they've got the right guy there at quarterback. And this is the first team we've looked at in this conference that actually has returning production on the offensive side of the ball. So running back Sam Scott's back. Their top 3 receivers are all back. They got 4 offensive line starters coming back. I mean, and when you watch Wyoming, like Pete said, defensively, they were good. Offensively, no, not so much. But I think that offense actually has a sliver of hope. And I'd like to see what a full year of Caden Anderson can bring this team. The win total 5.5 juice to the under. Pete had mentioned that schedule being kind of tough. He's correct. UNLV, San Jose State, Fresno, non-conference. They play Utah. They go to Colorado. That could easily be 5 losses right out of the gate. They miss Boise, but they also miss Utah State and New Mexico. That could have easily been 2 games that they win right there. Makes sense that the 5.5 is juiced to the under. But if they can put together a couple of good offensive performances, they could be a play-on team, come week 2, week 3, week 4. Interesting to see what they're going to do offensively this year.
Okay. All right, let's just keep on going down. We're getting closer to a lot of the bets where I was thinking about making. I had to pace myself here, but we got Hawaii 2,500.
Hawaii.
I knew I was going to get that response from you. So here we go. So Darren, let's kick it off.
I just want to say one thing. We all know as college football fans how much we all love the MAC for bringing us weekday November football. And I think college football bettors, we all love Hawaii because whether you're having a good day and you want to bet a little bit of your profits, or you're having a bad day and maybe you want to try a little bit back, get a little bit of that back. We don't recommend chasing. Don't do that.
No, that'll be coming up.
But at least 6 times a year, we can count on 11:59 Eastern Standard Time kickoffs thanks to Hawaii. So deep down, we all want Hawaii to succeed. I'm just going to say this. So I'll start defensively because I don't have much to say there. It's actually not that bad for Hawaii standards. A lot of depth there. They didn't really lose a ton. They could do a little bit better at forcing some turnovers. They only forced 11 over the course of the year. But all right, so offensively is where I have a concern, and it's mainly the quarterback. I know they had Brady, and I know Pete will talk about more of this because he's got a bet. But I'm just going to say this Micah Alahado kid who's replacing Braden Shager, I think was there for like 3 years. All right, I get it. He had a great last game. I think he played like a half a game before that, and he did really, really well. I've got 49 for 70, 585 yards, 6 TDs, no picks, 70% completion rate. But I know that last game where he was like 38 of 50 something, that was New Mexico. Now, we already know how terrible New Mexico was defensively. I think that other game where he went like 11 for 12 was, I believe, Utah State. And we all talked about how bad they were defensively last year. So there's 2 ways you can think about this. Are you excited that like the kid actually performed well against teams he should have performed well against and say, well, at least he didn't stink up the joint? Or are you just like, it was New Mexico and Utah State? I mean, put some real teams on there and let's see what he can do. So that's the huge question I have with this team. And I can't imagine Timmy Chang is going to be on the hot seat. He's like Hawaii Rainbow, royalty of some sort. But this is the 4th year. And this guy's supposed to be an offensive wizard. And Hawaii hasn't been, I think, in the top 85 in offense any of the 3 years he's been there. I don't know Hawaii football. Maybe we can get Mark on and ask him about that. Is Timmy Chang a hot seat candidate going into year 4? If this team goes a 4th year without doing anything on the offensive side of the ball? I don't know. I want them to win 6 and get to a bowl game. I believe they're, let's see. DraftKings actually has them 6.5 juice to the under. FanDuel's got them 5.5 juice to the over. So if you're an over guy and you've got FanDuel, that's where I would go for that bet. But I want them. I want them to win. The schedule's not. I mean, there's no Boise, so that's always helpful. But again, there's no Nevada or New Mexico. Those are the two worst teams we've got so far. They host Fresno. They go to Colorado State. They go to San Jose State. They go to UNLV. Maybe some teams go out to them and think, yeah, Hawaii, pass the rum. I'm not really paying attention this week. I don't know. I mean, I know if I had to go to Hawaii for a business trip, I'd get fired when I came back. I'm not going to Hawaii to work. I'm not even a college kid anymore. But I'm avoiding just because I don't know which way to lean as far as that QB goes. But Pete, I know you have a bet, so you've got some confidence here. So what am I missing?
Well, I have some confidence, but you already talked about my bet. So FanDuel 5.5. I went over on that because it looked very enticing to me. The reason I did, right? I love Hawaii's a fun team to watch. I like Timmy Chang. He's virtually a deity there, so it would take a lot more than this year for him to get fired. I can't imagine, unless they won 0 games, but that's not going to happen, right? So I don't expect him to be going anywhere. He's been grasping at this offense a little bit. It's hard to say, right? The quarterback's unproven, so it's difficult to say because I did toy around with them. I thought, could they make a run at this conference? And I kind of walked away from that when I saw the 5.5. I thought that's interesting to me. The conference is longer now. This is a conference where stuff could go sideways, and who knows if they could stumble their way into a championship game. I don't know. The issue with Hawaii, and it's the plus minus thing with them. Nobody wants to go play them there, right? For obviously for numerous reasons. Aaron mentioned one, but certainly the travel is a problem. And so many a good team goes out there and doesn't look very good. I mean, they have 7 home games. I mean, they win 6 of those, which I think they could very well do. Then I have my bet. I have my win here. Could they be better than that? I mean, for this team to actually be good and respected as being actually good. 2 Darren's, right? Number 1, they need to be more consistent on offense. Number 2, they need to win some road games. But it's a travel issue for them as well, right? Every time they come to the mainland, they've got a travel problem, and it's just tough, right, on them. So that is an inherent problem that's not going to go away anytime soon. That said, to Darren's very first point, we love Hawaii because when they play, and we got a great game to watch and a really cool place to watch it in sometimes. So love watching this team, and now that I have a bet on them, I'll be watching them even more this year. So I'm excited for it. So go Hawaii.
Pete, I'm just going to say, because I know Tim likes to text us during Florida State, if you even send me a text at 1:30 a.m. Eastern time bitching about Hawaii, I'm just going to block you. I just want you to know that. Tim does it at 8:30 at night when Florida State's playing like crap. That's fine.
You're going to be watching it too, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll be awake.
Well, Florida State also played like crap last year at 2, noon, 4, 6, not just the late game. It didn't matter what time the game was. They played like crap.
Right, but your texts were usually between 5 minutes after kickoff and halfway through the second quarter. And you just resigned yourself to the fact that, texting isn't helping this team. Sucks.
Just crack open a bottle of Jim Beam and drink it all away. That's all you can do. So, but now we're getting into the nitty gritty. I think we get into these. This is where I would put the teams that I'd like to think maybe I have a bet here. Looking for a team to surprise, get to the game, maybe get a hedge or a buyout from the website. Air Force plus 1750. My odds are on a Hard Rock bet. I don't know if you guys saw anything different on DraftKings, but 1750. I was close to putting one in. I did not obviously decided on a different school, but this seems to be a team that overachieves. They always seem to be there. This is my surprise team for this year. Question at quarterback. I don't think he threw too much last year, but I don't think the team threw too much last year. He only had 1 start. The running backs, they got some good people coming back there. They got a couple of good people coming back on defense. And just they always just seem to linger, and they always seem to win games that they shouldn't win. They might lose a couple they shouldn't lose, but I have them taken a big step this year, and they're my surprise team. Not going to fire a bullet on them yet, but I just want to know what you guys think. This will be my first serious look for this conference. Oh, Peter, we'll go with you.
Yeah, you said it. Would you have 1750? You said. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, it's Air Force, right? So what do we know about them? Right? They're disciplined, control tempo. They play ferocious defense, which they did last year. They're deep, meaning that there are a lot of interchangeable parts in that defense. So they're going to play defense. They're going to play it well. They're going to control tempo. So the question really comes down to quarterback and can they score? And can they score enough? When they play the lesser teams, it's generally not an issue. They can win those games. But the issue comes when they play a really good offensive team that can score points, some points on them, even with that defense. And now they have to chase, right? And so I don't know how that plays out this year. I think it will play out favorably, right? So I am rather high on them as well. Maybe not to Tim's degree. I wouldn't. I mean, that 1750 is interesting. I don't think I would take the bet here, but that's intriguing to me. Win total is what? Is it 7.5? Is that what that number is?
5.5.
5.5?
Yeah,
that's intriguing. I mean, the over 5.5 is rather intriguing to me. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. It is 5.5. Yeah, that's rather intriguing. I think that's definitely worthy of potentially some action there, just by that defense alone. Right, they're going to keep them in games that maybe they shouldn't be at times. So I like this team. I really do. This is another team that I kicked around with Hawaii. So anyway, should be an interesting year and some good defense. So I'll pass it on to Darren.
I agree with both you guys. I think Troy Calhoun is one of the best, if not the best coach in this conference. He does have a lot of returning production coming back on the offensive side of the ball. I get it that they were last in most offensive categories last year, but I totally expect that to change. I mean, they got their top 2 running backs back. Their fullback is back. A couple of their wide receivers are back. Granted, like Tim said, they don't throw the ball a whole lot, but they're still vital to running that offense. Defensively, like Pete said, they're always going to be pretty solid. The one thing we all forget about, maybe we don't forget about Air Force is they don't use the portal. Okay, you go to Air Force, you get appointed. Otherwise, you're not going. So, they struggle to add people because they just can't do it. The schedule, I mean, road games at UNLV and San Jose State could be an issue. They host Boise. But again, I think Troy Calhoun is the key here to this team getting back to a bowl game. And I agree with you guys. That over 5.5, I didn't fire, but along with Tim, this is my pick for the surprise team in this conference. I don't think they're going to get to the title game. There's a couple other teams I like to potentially face Boise there. But yeah, I mean, over 5.5. Haven't fired either, but it wouldn't surprise me if they win 7 games, get back to a bowl.
All right. Well, let's go on a little bit further. We're going to go to Colorado State. This is my disappointment team, going from my surprise team to my disappointment team. They are at plus 1,500. Darren, let's start with you for Colorado State. What are you thinking here?
Well, I like that their quarterback comes back. You can't say that about a lot of these group of 5 teams, but Braden Fowler-Nicolosi, pretty experienced guy to lead this team. No Torrey Horton. Obviously, he was a stud 2 years ago. He had quite a bit of injuries last year, so offensively, maybe not the Colorado State we all know and love. Again, defensively is where I have some concerns. They weren't too bad last year, but only 1 starter coming back. They only added 8 guys on that side of the ball in the portal. They managed to get Western Kentucky's defensive coordinator to be their DC this year. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you on the disappointment thing. I mean, 6.5 for pretty like the 5th betting choice at DraftKings for this conference at 15-1. But you're telling me they're most likely to be a 6-win team. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at their schedule. They go to Boise, they host UNLV and Fresno. I mean, again, a lot of these struggling programs have these top teams on their schedule. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they lost Avery Morrow, their top running back. 4 starters are returning. 1's the quarterback, 3 are offensive linemen. That entire wide receiver group is going to be brand new. who knows how long it's going to take for him to click with these guys. Yeah, I didn't bet under 6.5, but I probably should have. But I agree with you, Tim. I don't think this is going to be a good year for Colorado State.
I kind of get a Penn State vibe from this team. Like they'll beat the teams that are lower than them that they should beat, but if they play someone equal or better, they're going to lose every time. It seems. I don't know if there's any truth. Every time I see them when they're playing like the UNLVs or whatever, they always seem to lose. But when they're playing like New Mexico, they can beat them. I don't know. I have nothing to back that up with. This is something I always feel like when I see them, they're always losing to teams, or when they win, they're always beating teams that anybody could almost beat. So that's another thing. I just think they're just going to let everybody down this year. I might, now that you say it was 6.5, I might actually bet the under. So, but I'll have to go back to that. I know, Peter, what do you got any thoughts on Colorado State?
No, I think you guys hit it. I mean, they've been inconsistent. They befuddled me last year. They were so inconsistent. There are multiple weeks that I looked at them to put a bet on them, and I just had absolutely no faith in what I was going to see that week, which was just very frustrating at times. The turnover they have is just a problem. If they're gonna get over that number, they need to click soon, early in the season. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to have a pretty miserable September. And that's really not going to lead them in a direction to get that over. So I kind of like that underplay. I'm not playing it, but I would lean that direction. I just think they're gonna have a hard time with all that turnover. So yeah, it's going to be a challenge for them.
Okay. All right, getting down to the Final Four. We're going to go now to the other FSU. We're going to go to Fresno State. Got their schedule up on the screen. Darren, any thoughts? Let's start with you.
All right.
What I thought.
If you've been listening, I mean, you already know I'm kind of a moron, but I don't get why this team is 8-1 at DraftKings, plus 950 at FanDuel to win this conference. So I'm obviously missing something here. They lost Mikey Keene to go to Pete's school, Michigan. Maybe he's starting over Underwood, who knows. But they bring in EJ Warner. Yeah, that Kurt Warner's kid. Played at Rice last year, Temple before that. I mean, this dude likes to chuck the ball all over the place. 58 touchdowns, but 37 picks in 3 years. He's obviously shown no signs of cleaning that up as his career has progressed. I don't see why it would pick up here. I mean, there's some bad defenses he'll get, but yeah, I just don't see him being a step up for Mikey Keene. I just think it's a step back here. Their top two running backs are back, but this is one of like 3 teams that average under 100 rush yards a game. So I'm not sure that's a good thing. Their top 3 wide receivers are gone, including their leading one, Mac Delana, who had 64 catches, over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. Defensively, they added 9 guys in the portal. The front 7 kind of took a hit. Secondary actually doesn't look too bad. And I do like their coach, Matt Entz, who really cleaned up at North Dakota State, 60-11 in his time there. A problem on their schedule, they really don't host anybody in the conference that looks like is a favorite to win here. They do have to go to San Jose State, Colorado State, and Boise. I mean, maybe the Colorado State isn't that big of a deal, but it's a road game in Colorado, so I don't know. Do with that info what you will, but this is my pick for the disappointment. I just don't see them living up to being a 4th place team here. So guys, correct me if I'm missing something, but I mean, I look at this schedule. I was almost going to put in a bet on Kansas there in week 0, but then I remembered week 0 I suck at everything, so I'm pulling off on that for right now. But I mean, I don't know, man. The 3 bye weeks are nice, but
yeah, I might imagine that'd be really nice.
Yeah, I think anytime there's a Hawaii game, I think you get that option of a potential 3rd bye week. But yeah, I don't that ending there. With San Jose State on the road a few weeks before that, Boise on the road. We talked about what Wyoming could look like offensively. I think Utah State will be bad. That should be a win for them, but. Yeah, this is my disappointment for the season in this conference. And like I said, guys, if I'm wrong, certainly won't be the first time this show. But yeah, I mean, Pete, what are your thoughts here on the Bulldogs?
Yeah, in this case, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I also considered them my disappointment. I didn't go this direction with it, but I was really considering them. I don't see it either. I think it's going to take time for them to click if they do click. Warner's sloppy, right? A lot of interceptions. I don't see that magically changing itself here. So he's going to fling the ball around. He's going to make mistakes. I think from the betting perspective, once we get to the season here, I'm going to be looking at some unders with this team early on because I think they're going to have issues getting that chemistry going, and I think the number is going to be higher than it should. We'll talk about betting strategy and all that when we get to our thing like we did last year, but this is a team that plays into my over-under betting strategy early in the year because I think they're going to have issues getting this thing gelling, and I'm not even sure it's actually going to go anywhere. It's not like I think they're going to be great in week 6 or something. I'm not sure this offense is ever going to be that. So yeah, I don't see them having a very positive year. Darren said pretty much everything I would say here. So yeah, we'll be talking about them for unders early in the year. Tim?
Exactly. No, I mean, add to the things that we do not slander onto the show. We do not slander Kurt Warner, so or any of his kids thereof. So, other than that,
I wasn't slandering Kurt Warner, but did Kurt Warner even throw 37 interceptions in his career?
I'm
his
sure
kid is like
he had a couple bad years with the Giants. I think that.
Post grocery store, he didn't throw any more.
Yes,
pre-grocery store was the problem.
Yes. So, well, let's move on. We got plus 750 next. We got San Jose State. This is my bet. So, Darren, why don't you go first? And
you and me both, man. We got some different bets involving this team, but you know what? Shout out to that guy right there, and I'm going to pronounce his last name wrong because, as we discussed, I'm a moron. Ken Niumatalolo. That sounds about right. Yeah,
God bless you.
Somebody. Thank you. I remember Pete not being high on San Jose State and me agreeing with him in 2024. You got this guy, 18 years at Navy, knows to run the option. Came right over, hired the right guys, and man, if that boy didn't get San Jose State to a bowl, so thank you for that serving of humble pie. We appreciate that. It was delicious. I really like this team this year. I like the quarterback, Walker Eggett. Now with Emmett Brown at Coastal Carolina, this is his job. They didn't run the ball really well, but then you also have to remember they had Nick Nash, who had over 100 catches, almost 1,400 yards, 16 touchdowns, and now he's an Atlanta Falcon. I probably wouldn't run the ball either. They did add 3 wide receivers in the portal. Floyd Chalk is back, so if they're going to run the ball, that's going to be the guy. I mean, he did have 721 yards and 10 touchdowns. He's going to need to be a 1,000-yard rusher, I think, for this team to challenge for the title here. Defensively, 21 picks as a unit, 7 fumble recoveries. This team goes for the ball, man. They're an all-or-nothing defensive squad, and I kind of like that. Their team leader in tackles, Jordan Pollard, is back. They're pretty deep in all 3 position groups on the defensive side of the ball. Eggett needs to improve, though. If you look at last year's numbers, he had 111 more attempts than Emmett Brown, but 3 less touchdowns and 5 more picks. So he needs to stop watching E.J. Warner film and get back to doing what he can do here. So, Tim, I think you had a bet on them winning the conference, if I remember correctly.
I do have a bet. Now, obviously, I say this every week, especially with the Big 12. I bet on 3 teams to win the conference and picked another team I thought would actually win. But, I got the plus 750. I'm looking at the schedule. For my notes, I think it's cool, but sometimes it's a pain that we don't compare notes before the show. But everything you said, I would also add they have 3 or 4 offensive linemen also coming back. Look at the schedule. No Boise State, no UNLV. They get Fresno State at home. They have no Colorado State, but they probably beat them anyway. And so I'm liking the schedule. I think they could definitely get to the game. Do I think they could? It's a foregone conclusion. I think we would all pick Boise State to win this conference. Spoiler alert. But like I said, you get these betting apps, and they'll offer you a buyout. Especially if they don't want to pay the 750, they may offer me 4 or 5 to 1 instead of the 7.5 to 1. So I'm going to put in a bet here, add to the bankroll. I always say they don't care where the money comes from. So I got San Jose plus 750 to get basically betting on them to get to the Mountain West Championship game and then go from there. But that's my bet. Big time with the schedule. They avoid, most of the top teams to get one of the other top teams at home. So, so that's my bet. 750 for San Jose State in the Mountain West. Peter.
Not much I can add here. You guys nailed it. You both had bets on it. I think this is a team that absolutely could win this conference. Their schedule plays to them. They humbled me last year, so I can't potentially say a bad thing about them because I'll just eat more crow. So I'm not going to eat more crow. But no, I think this team absolutely can contend here. The trenches, they're strong in the trenches. They play inspired football. They are absolutely a contender here. The only reason I didn't do something with them is because I did something with the next team we're going to talk about. But otherwise, I like your plays.
I just want to add one thing as far as the opportunity to cash out. I think in some cases that's sportsbook dependent because you remember like a year before Ohio State Notre Dame game, I bet with BetMGM Ohio State to win the national championship. And in like the third quarter, when Ohio State was steamrolling them, they never gave me a cash out option.
Yeah, right.
They just let it roll, and they just paid me 15 minutes after the game ended because I was looking for the cash out option because I also had Notre Dame winning the national championship on DraftKings. Neither one of them offered me a cash out. So BetMGM
not going in, not before whatever. The game started, or
no. Usually, like some of them, they'll get like they were giving me cash out options on Ohio State like before the season began. But usually when you think, oh, geez, we got to pay this guy 8-1, like in the third quarter, it would have been a perfect time for them to be like, dude, we'll just give you 70% of your payout, which, of course, I wouldn't have taken it. I would have let it ride because I had Notre Dame on another app. But, yeah, I was surprised. Once the season started, they never once, at least that I saw, offered me a cash out on that future. So. Okay. But you're right. Yeah. Some books do because
Hard Rock Bet does. So if you live in Florida, perfect. I had like 3 or 4 last year, and like up to kickoff or like maybe I don't know if it was maybe an hour before kickoff, they would always say, you could, take this much now.
And FanDuel does because I believe I had your Colorado bet winning the Big 12, and I cashed that out for you a week early. They let you do that. So sportsbook dependent, but again, choose your sportsbooks wisely, people.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's go into this next team that Pete had a bet on here at plus 375. They're running Rebels, UNLV. Well, take us off, Pete. What you doing?
Yeah, so this team is a team I like a whole lot, right? Clearly, if you look at the odds, Boise State is the odds-on favorite by quite the margin here. But I think UNLV is a really, really good team. So what their job to do here is to get into the championship game when they can match up with Boise State and see if they can beat them, right? That's what they need to do. Love the offense, fun to watch, exciting. They can score in bunches, which is always fun to watch, of course. So their schedule plays quite nicely this year. Right? They missed Wyoming. They got Air Force and Fresno at home, which is favorable for them. So schedule plays into them. They are going to score, so I feel quite confident about that. They added some additional linemen to help protect, which is a good thing. I don't have like 18, paragraphs of commentary other than the fact that this team showed how good they were late last year. I think they're going to be as good, if not better. And I do think they're the one of the few teams here that head-to-head with Boise has a chance. And that's why I like them. So I did bet them. It was plus 650, 1 unit. On UNLV to win this conference. Darren?
Yeah, man, credit to you because I had no clue what to do with this team. But that dude right there wearing the UNLV shirt, holding the football, if anybody can do anything with an entire new roster, it's that guy right there. So I totally see where you are getting your faith in this team.
The coach that Tebow built.
Yeah.
Dan Mullen.
Well, that dude's pretty legit, man. He's won. I saw something like 8 games or more most of the years he's been coaching. And Pete mentioned that schedule. That October 18th game at Boise State, that's going to be some must-see TV right there. But, I'm looking at that schedule. I don't understand why, they're 8.5 at DraftKings and FanDuel. Both of those books have them juiced to the under.
Yeah.
If he pulls this together, which he could certainly do, starting with Sam Houston, UCLA, Idaho State, and that's Miami of Ohio there in week 4. That is not the Miami Hurricanes.
Yes.
How does this team not go 10-2, like, at worst? I mean, there's nobody there that they're going to lose to at home. I mean, Air Force, New Mexico, Utah State, Hawaii, and who are they gonna lose to on the road potentially besides Boise State? I mean, maybe Wyoming. Who's that last game? Is that Nevada? Who is? I can't even read that. That print's
I
so
can't
small.
see that.
I'm blind as hell.
Yeah, Nevada.
Yeah, I mean, how is this team not going to win 10 games on accident? So I totally agree with Pete. If a Boise State, UNLV, Mountain West title game wouldn't surprise me in the least. But 8.5 juice to the under makes no sense to me whatsoever. The only thing I can think of is so many new pieces on this team. Maybe they're thinking he doesn't get them all working together, sooner rather than later. But God, with those first 4 games, who cares if it takes some time? They're not going to lose any of those. I mean, they're not going to lose to UCLA even. That's probably their toughest one out of those 4. Well, I should have bet 8. Now I didn't bet 8.5 over yet, but just looking at this and listening to Pete, I might.
Right.
Honestly, I think Pete might have talked me into it because, again, no San Jose State, no Fresno, nobody, really awful, coming to Las Vegas to play them. I mean, yeah, maybe that might be an 11-win team right there.
Yeah.
I got to make a bet. You guys finish the show.
I think I'm agreeing with they got the Orgy kid from Michigan coming in, don't they, this year?
Yeah, they got him that Virginia kid, Anthony Columbus.
Yes, that's
who gets
interesting. I think that'll be an interesting QB battle to watch.
I wonder if it's a battle. I mean, Orgy can run, right, Pete? I mean,
do they
run some packages for Orgy and just let Calandria be the pure passer? That wouldn't shock me.
I can see that.
That'll be interesting.
Before the show. What the hell?
Hey, it's just a sidebar real quick. We're talking about going to a game this year. Maybe we should go to this one. Boise State UNLV. That would be fun.
Dude, it'd be cheaper to go to an NFL game. Are you kidding?
Yeah, that's true.
Have you priced anything in Las Vegas recently?
The tickets aren't that expensive. Well, it's in Boise, right?
Oh, Ida?
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things we think about is we need things to do other than the game. I'm not sure what there's to do.
Never been to Boise. I don't know. Might be interesting. I'll look it up.
There might be a reason for that. You never know.
I don't know.
But you're right. It would be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure Boise's a good town.
I'm sure it is.
I'm sure.
They got the coolest field we've seen on TV in some time.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, let's go to the team that pretty much everyone talks about every year. I mean, picking this conference is kind of like picking the Pac-12 or I guess the Pac-10 in the early 2000s. From like 2002 to 2008 or 9. It's like USC. They had Reggie Bush, Leinart, Lindell White.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, they're probably going to win this conference. I think they're at minus 125.
They're the only conference favorite with a minus number. Everybody else is plus. Yeah, DK's got a minus 125. FanDuel, by the way, when I wrote these down 10 days ago, was minus 105. They're now up to minus 130 on FanDuel. So FanDuel's getting Boise conference futures money in the last 10 days. And none of it's from us.
One good thing is, if they do happen to lose, no one can be like, you guys don't know anything because everyone's picking these guys to win. So it's not, what's going to stick out. But, yeah, I mean, they lose Janty. They still have plenty of talent there. I don't know. They're just head and shoulders above the rest of the conference at this point. Peter, let's start with you. What do you got on these guys?
I don't even know.
I just threw it right to you. There's no question that this team's going to win, and they're better than everybody in the conference. Pete, what do you think?
I mean, they're dominant, and they've been stable, and they crank out running backs, and they're a really good team. So I think I said my piece when I talked about UNLV. Like, I think head-to-head, there could be a potential here. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, this team is a very good team. I would, expect them to win the conference. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what else to say about them. They are the spread between them and the second team is rather wide. So you don't see that in most conferences, so they're pretty much a runaway, at least via the odds. But as I said, I think UNLV has a chance. So I'll pass it on to Darren.
Yeah, I mean, you know us. We spend a lot of time trying to poke holes in the favorites, whether it's horses or college football futures, and I tried to do the same here. Tim obviously mentioned Ashton Genty. One of the other reasons I have Fresno State as my disappointment is because their running back, Malik Sherrod, he's now at Boise State. They also kept Sire Gaines. So while they lost Genty, they still have a nice 1-2 punch at running back. Maddox Matson is back at QB. Tight end Matt Lauder is back. He's probably the best tight end in the conference. 4 O-line starters. I mean, maybe you could look at their wide receiver group that took a little bit of a hit if you really want to find a weakness, but I don't think that's going to be too much of a problem. They do have a couple receivers that have some experience that are coming back. I mean, defensively, more than half of their starters are returning. This team had 55 sacks last year. That's kind of an insane number. No, they did add 4 portal additions on the defensive line because they did lose a little bit of depth there. But again, looking at that schedule, UNLV is a home game. Fresno is a home game. I mean, they're not going to lose at Air Force. I don't, listen, I'm a Notre Dame guy. I don't even know if they're going to lose to Notre Dame. So I worry about Notre Dame's QB situation. So that they could even win that. 9.5, it just seems low. I mean, at least this one's juiced to the over. This makes a little more sense to me than UNLV 8.5 juiced to the under. But again, looking at that schedule, where are they losing? Where are they losing 3 games? They're not.
Don't see it.
I mean, they're not.
They're not.
In our dreams,
they're not.
They're just not.
I don't see it. I mean, okay, fine. Look at the road games because you could even say, all right, nobody wins at Boise. Okay, that's fair. But you do have UNLV. Maybe that's a home game you're worried about, and maybe going to Notre Dame is the road game you're worrying about. But even if you lose those, where's the third loss? Yeah, exactly. I don't.
Crickets.
I mean, honestly, after UNLV, they could easily run the table. So if they're 5-2 after UNLV, bet the over 9.5 because they're not losing any of those last 5. That's for sure. So.
Yeah, instead of letting the group of 5 like have one team in the playoff, I'd like to see the group of 5 have their own playoff. I like to see Boise State play like Toledo this year. Toledo team looks pretty good. Instead of putting them to go play Texas or Alabama or whoever, or Ohio State. But yeah, as far as this conference goes, yeah, who's going to win? Pretty boring. Boise State.
Well, you don't ever want to say, it's a shoe-in, but I mean, with what they have coming back compared to everybody else in this conference and that schedule, yeah, I don't know. And I mean, again, we talked about on the Max show last time about Toledo potentially being the group of 5 rep. What do you guys think? Boise State repeat as the group of 5 rep this year? Certainly got a shot, I think.
Probably, because I think it goes by the polls. With all that.
The highest ranked group of 5. We haven't discussed AAC, Conference USA, or
Sunbelt.
Sunbelt, yeah, but
yeah, they're certainly probably a leading contender for that spot. So we'll see how that plays. But once again,
I think that Toledo game would be good if it would ever happen. I think that'd be a nice game to watch. That'd be a good game.
Yeah.
All right, so let's review our picks here. Let's bring up our other chart here. Pete, let's start with you. What you got? Let's review.
Yeah, so for the conference champion, I have Boise State because it's just hard to bet against them. That said, my surprise team and my bet to win, just because I like the juice on it at 650, I went with UNLV to win the conference. I'm banking on them, knocking Boise off either in the game they play during the season or in the championship game. We'll see how that goes. Disappointing team. We talked about it a bit. I had a couple that were I was kicking around. I went with San Diego State as my disappointment. So those are my 3.
All right, Darren, what you got?
Yeah, no surprise. I've got Boise State winning this conference. I do think they're going to be playing San Jose State, but that's just me. But for Pete's bet, I want UNLV to be there. But then again, oh wait, you and Pete are going against each other. Well, let's just hope UNLV plays San Jose State and Boise decides to suck ass. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I got Boise State winning. Air Force, my surprise team. I think Troy Calhoun would get that team back to a bowl. And disappointing, I'm going with Fresno State. A ton of losses. Their best runners now on Boise. I think they've got a little downgrading quarterback with EJ Warner. And my one bet here, San Jose State over 7.5. I made this the other day. It's -108. It's at -110 now at FanDuel. So obviously my mammoth wager has just shredded the number in the wrong direction because, yeah, okay. But yeah, I mean, Tim had talked about the schedule. No Colorado State, UNLV, Boise. Those three teams went 19-2 last year in the conference, including 3-0 against San Jose State. They don't have to play any of those. And San Jose State still won 7 games last year. So I feel pretty good about this. But that is my only bet. San Jose State over 7.5 wins.
All right. And great minds think alike for the first two. My picks are exactly as Darren's are. My disappointment team is Colorado State. Yeah, I just don't think they're really that good as people think they're going to be this year. And I have San Jose State, my little hedge hunt here, plus 750 to win the Mountain West. Any final thoughts before we start to close this out?
No, it'll just be a fun conference, seeing if anybody can compete with Boise State all the way through. I think that's the excitement here, and it'll be a lot of fun to see it play out.
Sweet. Well, it's a little comment here. We have about some upcoming shows. We are going to do a Heisman preview coming up. We're starting to get a lot of interaction on our YouTube channel, and one of our viewers was asking about a Heisman preview, Nikolai. So he was asking about that. We got that coming up. I think we're going to do another bankroll management show in the future, and I think our next conference. You pick one. Did we pick the Sun Belt? I thought we
didn't pick one yet.
Well, let's do the Sun Belt. Sun Belt's a fun conference to do. So, but yeah, those are the shows we're coming up. Again, subscribe to our YouTube channel if you get a chance. It's quick. It's free. It helps us out. You can also find us on Spotify. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts. So thank you all for listening. And
leave your thoughts on the Mountain West below once this video goes up.
Yeah,
we want to know what you guys think.
Once you get up, definitely leave your thoughts below, and we will see you next week. Thank you for watching.